they would live in peace with Israel. But what would happen if Israel laid down its arms? You know what would happen. And it's the same way with Republicans and Democrats. It's it is a weird thing because at the very moment that Democrats have become more brazen, there's Don. See that? Don Jackson is with us. Don has been a fan of the show for a long time, maybe since 2007. And I bumped into him when what was I doing, Don, when I bumped into you? Yesterday was National Hot Dog Day, see? And I had two big hot dogs that I was about to eat, and I bumped into Don. And guess what I did? Because I was lead getting people to download Periscope and then subscribe to the show. I said, Don, didn't I? I said, you got to download Periscope. You got a minute? And then he followed the show, and here he is. So, Don, welcome to the show. I'm in the lead, baby. YouTube not up. You know what I did before? I hit the button. I think Jeremy's working. I hit the button. I think it's up now. It looks like Jeremy got it going. And I videotaped it, Jeremy. I videotaped what I did so I can show you the proof of how I screwed up every single mother day. But welcome to the show. And I'm telling you, I want to stay in the lead. And so I'm grabbing everybody I can to link arms because we're only about 30 million people away from saving the United States of America. Just 30 million people. If we got 30 million people, do you know, honestly, when I think about that, I think, why not? I heard one time, what was his name? What was the black congressman's name from Oklahoma? J.C. Watts, is that right? Congressman J.C. Watts, he was the quarterback, actually, at the University of Oklahoma. He was a great quarterback. And he was a Republican, and for a while he was the only Republican in the U.S. House of Reprehensibles. And J.C. Watts one time said that he never thinks he's going to lose, right? He said, I'm the kind of guy that would get in a rowboat and go after Moby Dick. And that's kind of how I am. It really is the way I've lived my life. Why can't we do it? So we're only 30 million away, and I got one more yesterday. So now you got to get some. And you know, whoever gets the most people are going to get both. I was reading these last night a little bit too, by the way. Economics in One Lesson and The Law by Frederick Bastiat. If you read these two books and you underline them like I do and you write in the margins and you think about them, you will become unbamboozable. Nobody will be able to bamboozle you. And the thing I like most about that word is, that's right, the root word, booze. Unbamboozable is the best part of the word. Now, to show you that I keep sharpening my sword, I'm grabbing Miss Sarah Moon, and that's it. That's the whole story. I'm just grabbing Miss Sarah Moon. You know, that's it. No, I'm grabbing her. Hey, you'd grab her too. And we're going to Auburn this weekend. Oh, it's up now. Great. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy has the patience. I'm surprised he hadn't thrown me out on my ear, is what I'm surprised. But we're going to the Von Mises Institute, a free market think tank, over the weekend, and we're going to do an economic boot camp. And I'm excited about it. And we're bringing Mark Wishern with us as well. Mark Wishern ran for Congress in District 1, in a neighboring district, and he's a good friend of mine. And we're going to learn as much as we can about economics, about the history, the origin, and just everything about it. And they call it Austrian economics is what they call it. And really, it's just kind of how the world works, I think. Let me give you an example of philosophy from Austrian economics. I'm not as familiar with Ludwig von Mises as I am his protege, F.A. Hayek. Hayek wrote a book called The Road to Serfdom. Who's read The Road to Serfdom? Have you read The Road? If you haven't read The Road to Serfdom, that is on my list of 9 books. Do you know I have a list of 9 books for everybody's Liberty Library? And I leave the 10th one open for you. So I need to do that, don't I? I need to post my list. If I post my list of the 9 books for everyone's Liberty Library, would you read them? Don't quit joshing me. You wouldn't read them. By the way, where's that come from? We'd have to look that up. Josh and me. Why Josh? What was wrong? Josh was always BSing people. So we're going there, and I want to give you an idea of F.A. Hayek and the kinds of things that he says that really resonate with me. This is wonderful. You ready for this? I tweeted this, so some of you have already seen it. F.A. Hayek, Frederick Hayek, who wrote the book The Road to Serfdom. Oh man, he's amazing, amazing. I learned things like spontaneous order from him. I learned things about the fatal conceit of government planners from him. He was a guy who was a scholar in the early 20th century when everybody was big on government planning, kind of like now, but back then they were big on it too. And then when it crashed and failed, I thought that we had gone past socialism. Really, Miriam, you read that book? It's a little more scholastic, right? It's a little more dense and pedantic. There's a word. If I Am Cruz is listening, if the Real Black Courage is listening, there's a word, pedantic. He likes when I throw out words like this, but it's wonderful. It's in my top 9 for sure. And he said, there's all the difference in the world between treating people equally and attempting to make them equal. You think about that. F.A. Hayek said there's all the difference in the world between treating people equally and attempting to make them equal. And his mentor was Ludwig von Mises. And as I said, I'm grabbing Miss Sarah Moon. And then after I grab her, we're gonna go to Auburn. Hey, it's Friday, right? Cut me some slack. I see that Wayne Dupree joined. Wayne Dupree Show just joined us. Wayne, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. If you're not following Wayne Dupree, he's one of the big guys, and he's on Twitter at Wayne Dupree Show. I got it now, Wayne. I didn't leave that last part out. At Wayne Dupree Show, and a real champion of conservatism, and always taking a good. And he podcasts at night, so follow him on Periscope as well. The Wayne Dupree, and he's been a guest frequently on Sean Hannity's show. So welcome, Wayne. Glad to see you here, and a fellow Air Force veteran, as I am. But a couple of things that I wanted to point out to you today. Number one, before we get to Ted Cruz, and you're going to hear this, it's really amazing. I have developed this formulation of mine that Democrats, when you wonder why Democrats, you're welcome, Wayne, when you wonder why Democrats support Obama as Obama commits criminal activity, it goes beyond lawlessness. It's criminal what he's doing. To release 192 murderers in 2014 and 400 and some rapists and sexual assaulters, just to break them out of prison essentially, is a criminal act. It's not just politics. So, I mean, and that again is one of Obama's superhero powers. Don't ever forget this. He has convinced enough Americans that criminality emanating from the White House is just politics, baby. It's just politics. Party loyalty, exactly right. One thing that drives me crazy is partisanship above principle. When your allegiance is to partisanship, when your allegiance is to a party or even worse, to a man. I had a caller one time call me and said, I am 150% with Barack Obama. And I said, oh my God, how could anybody? I mean, that's full-blown idolatry at that point, isn't it? That's beyond faithful. That's beyond loyal. That's idolatrous. And this guy didn't get that. He said, no, I'm 150% with him. I said, you're crazy. I'm not 150% with anybody. I'm 100% with liberty. I'm 100% with the truth. But that's hard enough to be loyal and faithful to that. And we've seen that with the cronyism taking place in Congress. But I do believe that Democrats view Republicans the same way that Palestinians view Israel. Nothing less than complete annihilation will suit them. Nothing less than. If you look, I'm a live and let live guy. But if you're not celebrating gay marriage, if you're not marching in the parades in thongs, not just marching in the parades, I mean marching in the parades in thongs, you're not doing enough. See, I don't believe government should be in the marriage business at all. If you don't believe that either, by the way, let me know, because still there are a lot of Republicans who do. A lot of Republicans say, no, the federal government should make sure it's just between a man and a woman. I'm telling you, if the federal government, if you say they have the power to do that, you're giving them the power to do a lot of stuff that they don't have the power to do. We can still argue and persuade people about marriage and morality without using the federal government to come in with the crushing force of law and try to make people live a certain way. Because I'm telling you, once you accept the premise that government can do that, government's going to be doing a whole lot of stuff that you don't want government to do. I promise you. Can I get an amen? I just watched Pastor J.C. Hall, and he says that all the time. Can I get an amen? And so it makes me wish I was a pastor sometimes. I wish I could say that. But all I can do is say the Hunger Games thing, real or not real, or as I always say, right or wrong. So do you agree with me that Democrats view Republicans the same way that that the Palestinians view Israel? They imagine a world. It reminds me of the John Lennon song, right? Imagine there's no Israel. It's not hard if you try. That would be the updated, I think, version of Imagine. You know, Imagine. I've never thought that was a nice song. Imagine no religion, no countries. Well, how does it go? How does the song go? Do you know what I'm talking about? The John Lennon song, Imagine. Imagine, basically, there's no countries, nothing to live and die for. To some people, that's beautiful. To me, that's scary. There's got to be something to live for. There's got to be something you're willing to die for. Doesn't there? Or else it's not worth living. I'm going to throw this out there. I believe that if there's not something worth dying for, then there's not something worth living for. Does that make sense? I'm going to give you the phone number too, just in case you want to join me. Phone number is 850-252-8260. 850-252-8260. So I do believe that Democrats imagine a world where there's no Republican resistance. And I do believe that Democrats think that Republicans are worse than ISIS. Democrats would like to see an eradication of Republicans more than they would like to see an eradication of ISIS. Do you agree? I'm going to write that down. I'm going to test this theory. Let me know if you agree with that, either by comment or touch the screen with hearts. And if you don't, let me know. Because somebody said it wasn't a fair comparison. They said, Burnie, you're comparing murder with politics, and that's not right. To which I said, no, my point is the Palestinians aren't going to be happy until there is no Israel. And it's my observation that Democrats are not going to be happy until there are no Republicans. And I think Obama looks at Israel. When Obama looks at Israel, Obama sees the House of Reprehensibles. He sees the GOP Congress. He sees Israel as Republicans and Islamic jihadists as Democrats. There's another one I got to write down. I think Obama does. I think Obama views Israel like Republicans and Islamic jihadists as Democrats. It's bad. But I'm mad at Republicans too, though. Take a listen to this. This is Ted Cruz, and he's talking about the XIM Bank. And if you don't know what the XIM Bank is, just know this. It was established, I think, back in the 1930s, okay? It is a government agency that subsidizes cronyism in the name of free markets, okay? That's what it does. The XIM Bank is, it guarantees loans at rates so low that it subsidizes projects that the government wants. It's awful. Even Lindsey Graham, okay, if you look in any dictionary under cronyism, you're likely to see Lindsey Graham's face. He said, I would like it if there was no XIM Bank, but as long as China has one, then I want one. That's what Lindsey Graham said. So understand that it is when I talk about XIM Bank, it's a government agency that subsidizes cronyism on our dime, in the name of free markets. It's a dishonest, crony piece of garbage, okay? And it should have been, it already died, essentially, but the Republicans keep doing mouth to mouth and blowing our dollars into it is what the Republicans keep doing, including Steve Sutherland, who wants to run again. Now, here's what Ted Cruz says about it. I want you to hear this. Ted Cruz, it's a little long, but man, is it powerful. This just happened on the Senate floor. Listen to this.
Today is a sad day for this institution. The Senate operates based on trust. Whether we are Democrats or Republicans, these 100 senators have to be able to trust that when a senator says something, he or she will do it, even if we disagree on substance, that we don't lie to each other. What we just witnessed this morning is profoundly disappointing.
No sound.
I want to describe the context of two preceding discussions. A number of weeks ago, when this Senate was considering trade promotion authority, a group of senators gathered on this floor and blocked TPA for many minutes because they were pressing for the Export-Import Bank. They huddled on this floor and negotiated a deal in front of C-SPAN, in front of the world. Then,
all right, I'm going to start this over again. Sounds good now. Okay, so the little cord had come out just a little bit. Let's listen again to this, because it's a powerful thing. Ted Cruz here. Okay, right, we'll start here.
The Senate operates based on trust. Whether we are Democrats or Republicans, these 100 senators have to be able to trust that when a senator says something, he or she will do it, even if we disagree on substance, that we don't lie to each other. What we just witnessed this morning is profoundly disappointing. I want to describe the context of two preceding discussions. A number of weeks ago, when this Senate was considering trade promotion authority, a group of senators gathered on this floor and blocked TPA for many minutes because they were pressing for the Export-Import Bank. They huddled on this floor and negotiated a deal in front of C-SPAN, in front of the world. Then, when they had their deal, TPA had the votes to pass. Shortly thereafter, we had a Senate Republican lunch where I stood up and I asked the majority leader very directly, what was the deal that was just cut on TPA, and was there a deal for the Export-Import Bank? It was a direct question. I asked the majority leader in front of all of the Republican senators. The majority leader was visibly angry with me that I would ask such a question.
This is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, and I'll tell you what, this Export-Import Bank thing, again, it's a government agency that subsidizes cronyism in the name of free markets. It's awful, okay? And it has to end. And it would be done if these so-and-sos would stop funding it with money that they don't have, that they're taking from us, okay? So it is awful. The Export-Import Ex-IM Bank, okay? Now, you're not going to believe what Ted Cruz is going to continue saying here, but what I want to point out is this is another example, what I'm sharing with you, is that in Washington, D.C., it is less Republicans versus Democrats today than it is what? Insiders versus outsiders. Today, it is more insiders versus outsiders than Republicans versus Democrats, because Republicans should know better, damn it. Republicans should be free market guys like Reagan was, like Jack Kemp was, like Barry Goldwater was. But instead, now we have Republicans like the Bushes, okay? And McConnell and Boehner and Sutherland. All these guys voted to keep this cronyism afloat. Listen to what Cruz says here.
And the majority leader looked at me and said, there is no deal, there is no deal, there is no deal. Like St. Peter, he repeated it 3 times. He said, the only thing I told the proponents of the Export-Import Bank is like any other senator in this body, they could offer any amendment they liked on any amendable vehicle. But I gave them nothing. There is no deal. I gave them nothing. He was emphatic, and he was repeated. Following that public discussion, Senator Mike Lee and I approached the majority leader afterwards, in which he emphasized, again, there is no deal. I will do nothing. I oppose the Export-Import Bank. All I said is they can offer an amendment like any senator can to any bill. Madam President, I went back to my office and I sat and had a long discussion with my staff. My staff told me that afternoon, he's lying to you. That's what my staff said. We've been around the Senate a long time. He is not telling you the truth. And what I told my staff that afternoon, I said, well, I don't know if that's the case or not. But I don't see how, when the majority leader looks me in the eyes and makes an explicit promise, and by the way, looks in the eyes of every other Republican senator and says that to every other Republican senator, I don't see how I cannot take him at his word when he makes an explicit promise. As a result, I cast my vote in May in support of TPA because I support free trade. And I felt I had no choice but to assume that when the majority leader spoke to 54 Republican senators and made an explicit promise, that he wasn't lying to us.
Wow.
Well, as TPA moved on, as it went to the House, it became abundantly clear there was a deal. There was a deal in the House for the Export-Import. And so the second time TPA came up, I voted no because of that corrupt deal. Now, I will note to the public, the majority leader and the Speaker of the House have repeatedly said there was no corrupt deal, there was no corrupt deal, we made no deal, we made no deal. That's one element of the background context. Let me tell you a second element of the background context. A number of weeks ago, when we were debating the...
This is huge. Senator Ted Cruz, and this is what what I tell you that I would do, and you know I would too. I mean, you know that I would do this. Don says power corrupts. You know what the actual quote was, Don? It's interesting. It's a little different. Power tends to corrupt is the quote. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The fun has arrived. Black Courage is in the house. By the way, this is somebody you need to follow. Elisha Cruz is his name. Elisha has his own show, so check him out. And Elisha, just before you commented, Don Jackson. I bumped into Don yesterday on National Hot Dog Day when I had 2 hot dogs in my hand, didn't I, Don? And so Don saw me with these hot dogs, and I said, Don, do you have Periscope yet? He didn't. So I'm still in the lead. I got more people downloading Periscope and following this show than anybody else. I know I do, because I'm on it, man. I want people to do it. And Don and I stood there, and we got it done, didn't we? Yeah, and they were big ones too. Yeah. Hey, Elisha, a body like this doesn't just happen, is what I'm saying. So that's right. I didn't share. Come on, man. I'd have bought you one, but I'm not sharing. It was National Hot Dog Day. By the way, do you know what today is? It's National Tequila Day. So God help me. And Miss Sarah Moon and I are on our way to. It is National. This is going to be rough. We are on our way tonight to an economic boot camp in Alabama. The Von Mises Institute is having a boot camp, so we're going to see Tho Bishop. Look, my weekend is going to be after I grab Miss Sarah Moon, and as I said, I'm just going to grab her. That's all. And then we're going to go down to Alabama. You would too if you could. And we're going to go down there, and I'm going to be with Tho Bishop and Mark Wishern and the Mises Institute. I am so excited about it. The scary thing is it starts early and it's National Tequila Day tonight. So, but we're gonna learn something at the boot camp. Now, Ted Cruz though is calling people out by name, and this is what I have long wanted from members of. That's exactly right. I have wanted people to start calling them out, and this is what I would do. I would tell you these are the people who just came in here. Here's what they said, and here's what they did. Why aren't more people doing that? Why aren't more senators and representatives doing that? Because they're either on the take or compromised by NSA, and they're not willing to risk the pain. But I'm telling you what, if there's no country, there won't be anything at all to risk. It's about time, says Miriam, it's about time some people stood for the people. Listen, and it hurts. You will lose something if you stand for the truth. But what you gain is more valuable than anything you could possibly lose. Jan says they're not willing to make their cronies mad. And that's exactly right. Do you agree with me that when you stand for the truth, okay, no matter what you lose, it's worth more. It's worth more to tell the truth. I guess what I'm saying is you gain more by telling the truth than you could possibly lose. And what you lose hurts. I promise it does. All right, let's go back to Ted Cruz. He's calling out Mitch McConnell by name. And he just said, Mitch McConnell said 3 times, there was no deal, there was no deal, there was no deal. And here's what is the second part of the big lie, according to Senator Ted Cruz. This just happened on C-SPAN, and I'm telling you, even the online editor at C-SPAN is saying, holy Nikes, is what he said, I think. Listen.
Corker Cardin bill, the Iran Review Act. There were a number of amendments that senators had filed. I filed an amendment that would actually put teeth in the Iran Review Act by requiring affirmative congressional approval before sanctions on Iran could be lifted. Other senators filed very good amendments. Senator Marco Rubio filed an amendment calling for Iran to recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state before sanctions could be lifted. Our friends on the Democratic side of the aisle did not want to vote on that amendment.
See?
And in response,
I'm going to say again, because I want this to sink in. I don't want this to be something that goes by. Yeah, me too, Matt. This is something I'm going to repeat, and I hope that you etch it in your memory bank, okay? I keep telling you that whenever you go, God, why are Democrats doing these things and supporting these things? Why won't Democrats criticize Obama? Again, it is because Democrats hate Republicans more than they love America. But it's even more. I've figured out that Democrats view Republicans the same way that Palestinians view Israel. Total annihilation is all that's acceptable to them. And what I mean by that is they imagine a world with no Republicans. That's the only acceptable world for them. It's okay to have a world with ISIS to a Democrat. That's okay. Because here's another thing about Democrats. Democrats love to insult and offend Republicans, but they never want to insult or offend a real terrorist. All right, I'm going to write that down. In fact, they're eager to. They love it. They love offending fellow Americans as long as they're Republicans. What they would never do is insult an Islamic jihadist. That they would not do. You go ahead, kind sir, and throw the homosexual off the building. We're sorry we insulted you. That's a Democrat. I think that's a direct quote one time from a Democrat. But never insult Islamic jihadists. Am I right or wrong? These are amazing developments. You know, I had to do a screenshot yesterday on Facebook or Twitter. It might have been on Twitter. Somebody said something, and I said, oh, my God. Sometimes you see it, and you go, I always say this, but I can't believe how right I was. Here it is, right here. Look, I'll even show this to you. Okay, it was on Twitter. You can't see that, can you? Wow. That's just unbelievable. You can't see it at all. Anyway, I'm going to read it to you. This, I don't know who Justin is, but Justin Raimondo said bad things about Trump. Okay, this is the bad things about Donald Trump. Number one, he's a freaking racist. Now, it doesn't matter who Justin is. Just know that Justin he reflects, right, all Democrats. This is what Democrats think. One, Trump's a freaking racist. Two, he appeared at a libertarian conference as though he's a libertarian. Three, he might win. These are the bad things Democrats think about Ted Cruz. Here are the good things, and this is even more telling from a Democrat. These are the good things about Donald Trump to the Democrats. Number one, he delegitimizes politics. Number two, he's destroying the GOP. That's great. That's wonderful, says the Democrats. And here's the one that's the most telling. Number three, he's making people I hate angry. Ding, ding, ding. That is the most important thing to a Democrat, is to make the people they hate angry. That animates them. That's their most important thing. If ISIS coming to America and shooting and murdering U.S. Marines who are unarmed, if that upsets Republicans, Democrats are okay with that. They are. They're okay with that. The most important thing for a Democrat, they'll lose their doctor, their internet, their breasts. They'll lose their you name it. You name it, they'll lose it. They don't care. As long as Republicans are mad, they're happy. You can have, if you see a Democrat with one breast, no doctor, no internet, and a mad Republican, that Democrat's happy. I'm telling you, I was so excited to see that because I was, oh my God, there's actual real life proof that what I say is true. As long as it makes the people I hate angry, I'm cool in the gang, is what Democrats think. It doesn't matter if America spirals in flames. They don't give a flip about that. They don't give a flip about that. What animates their every emotion is are Republicans mad? If Republicans are mad, then they're happy. That's it. I'm telling you. Back to Ted Cruz, though. It really is sad, isn't it? Don't you agree? And here's what's more sad, Matt, and I know that you know because I know you. I know Matt personally. By the way, Matt is a freak of nature. Sorry. Really is. How would you like that to be the first thing I ever said about you publicly? But freak of nature. And you can take that to the bank. Not the export-import bank, though. No, a real bank. And I say that because we played basketball one time. Last time I played basketball for real was about 4 years ago. And he and I matched up against each other. Now, Matt's about 6 feet tall. White guy. Really long arms, though. As my Emma would say, freakishly long arms. But even more, this cat can jump from one side of the court like a video game and go on the other side of the court and flip the ball up. But he can do these. Have you ever played video games? And you can, like, the basketball players go, woo, they like move like long way. This guy does that. He is like a Nintendo game when he plays basketball. It's weird. He's a freak of nature. But anyway, Matt, I'll tell you what's even more sad is to me, I kind of expect Democrats to act like this. What's more sad is Republicans who are hell-bent on rewarding themselves and being elected again and putting America on the slip and slide to its destruction. Because the Republican Party, I think, has pretty much already gone down the slip and slide to irrelevancy. Now we're talking about America going down the slip and slide toward it's not even existing anymore. That's what's worse. What's worse is when friends You know, when people who are supposed to be friends, people who are supposed to be for limited government. Yeah. And you know, Matt, because we've been at the celebrations together and the fundraisers together. You've seen me probably introduce him before. I'm talking about Steve Sutherland, who we helped get elected. And then, unfortunately, started to push things like, I don't know, funding Planned Parenthood, arming Islamic terrorists, funding Obamacare in its entirety, funding food stamps 80% of a $1 trillion bill and calling it a farm bill. And I don't play that, you know. I really don't. And that's I think the even worse than anything else. And this is what Ted Cruz is going through. Ted Cruz here is not criticizing Democrats. He's criticizing his own. And I think, by the way, I said yesterday, I'm going to make two statements, and I want to know if you agree. One statement is you can tell a lot about a person's character by what they get passionate about. Second thing, you can tell a lot about a person's character if they're willing to criticize their own. Do you agree? You got to be willing to criticize your own when your own are wrong. And do you know who my own are? Americans. Don't say Republicans. And don't say Democrats. My own are Americans. Black people are my own. Women are my own. You know what I mean? Everybody, because we got to be Americans before we're black. We got to be Americans before we're women. And I'm telling you, if Sutherland runs, the first time he ran in 2010, he didn't have a Women for Sutherland campaign. It was just Americans for Sutherland, right? But when he lost, he had Women for Sutherland. He had, Purple People Eaters for Sutherland. He had Dreamers for Sutherland. I exaggerate. Okay, I'm making that up, those last parts. But he did have Women for Sutherland, which I thought was stupid, because what do women want that's different than what Americans want? If you are an American, we should have the same values. And this is something that's another hallmark of America, is that we can all want different things and still be Americans. Well, that might be true if it's your personal ambition, but you can't be there is a such thing as American values, okay? And they're all found on our coin, by the way. If you get a coin, do I have a coin on me? No, but I know what they are. In God we trust, liberty, and e pluribus unum, right? And e pluribus unum means I'm going to get mines. No, that's not it. That's not what it means. That's the current cronyism. I'm going to get mines. E pluribus unum actually doesn't mean it. What it really means is out of many, one. Right? So we can all look alike. We can all come from different places. But out of many people, we have one set of values. And those values are in God we trust, liberty, and out of many, one. And that's why I have a problem with guys like Scott Walker, who I don't want to have a problem with. But damn it, as long as your three things are reform, growth, and safety, you are not a conservative. You're going to run on those three things? And what's worse is if you're a Republican voter or activist and you've got to defend that. Because even in the French Revolution, I keep forgetting what the third one was, right? French Revolution, it was liberty, fraternity, and what was the other one? I always forget the other one. But we're going to find out right now. I'm tired of forgetting this. So hold on. Let's do this here. Somebody want to beat me to it? Can you beat me to it? Does anybody remember what it was? The French Revolution, liberty, there it is, equality. It was equality. Now I'm going to tell you something. Scott Walker is running on reform, growth, and safety. The French Revolution, which was a Marxist bloodbath, okay? That was liberty, equality, fraternity. I'm telling you, the French Revolution, the three pillars, were more conservative than Scott Walker's right now. Republicans believe that if they talk like a Marxist, that they'll win. And I'm trying to tell Republicans, you just tell the truth and stand on the truth. Yeah, but Bernie, we might lose, but at least you'll still have your dignity and your honor. Steve Sutherland. By the way, you want to see something unbelievable? Is Joe Snuffy with us? Is Don't Meme Me Bro here? Do you follow Don't Meme Me Bro on Twitter? Because his latest meme is unbelievable. And I am going to post it. And these are the consequences. There you are. Did you post the latest meme on Sutherland's blood money? This is follow at Joe Snuffy. Am I lying, Elisha? I know Elisha Cruz, the Black Courage, follows Joe Snuffy. And on Twitter, he's known as Don't Meme Me Bro. Don't Meme Me Bro on Twitter. And he's one of the fastest growing Twitter sensations there is. Isn't he something else? Wait till you see, oh my God, Steve Sutherland. And the reason I'm bringing him up is because he's talking about running again for office. And he was a social conservative, he said, but he voted to fund Planned Parenthood $500 million. On his way out, he was voted out, and one of his last acts on his way out the door was to vote $500 million because John Boehner told him, and I know, Steve, I know, Boehner told you that if you come back, you'll keep your seniority. And Boehner said, it will help get you back, and you'll keep your seniority, but you got to be a team player and vote to fund Planned Parenthood. Well, I'm telling you what, your effort to get your third election so that you could have your lifetime pension, it comes with a cost. And I was going to tell you, Joe Snuffy, I was going to say another meme idea, you might be able to do something with it, is Sutherland is saying that he's prayerfully considering, or he's giving it prayerful thought. That's what it is. He's giving prayerful thought to running for Congress again. Okay? I'm telling you, we would have been better off if he had given prayerful thought to voting for Planned Parenthood, because you thought it was just a controversial vote. No, damn it. It comes with real blood. It comes with real body parts. It comes with real consequences, and those will never leave you. We won't allow them to. Isn't that something? Prayerful, the idea of prayerful thought. You know, somebody who has to give prayerful thought to run for Congress more. Listen, the time you need prayer is when you're about to vote with John Boehner on anything. But especially if you're about to vote for John Boehner to fund Planned Parenthood, damn it, that's not a government agency, that's a private agency. And it comes with a price. And if you think I'm going to let that go, don't you know me by now? Don't you know me by now? Who thinks I'll let that go? Ever. That will be attached to you forever because you did that. You classified yourself when you did that. I didn't do it. You can be mad at the messenger all day long, but if you want the messenger to be quiet, then you get back to work at the funeral business, which you're very good at. And I mean that sincerely. It's an important business. And he is very comforting and good at it. Well, I'll tell you, it fires me up. I'm glad it's National Tequila Day, I'll tell you that. Because did you see the picture that Joe Snuffy and at S. Hannity's hair made of me? There's this really cool picture of me standing in Fort Lauderdale. And I think it was Fort Lauderdale. And I'm up on this condo, right? And I've got this glass of whiskey. And behind me, there's this, like, a carnival thing, right? And I've got this cool little glass of whiskey in my hand. And these guys thought it would be funny if they replaced the drink, if they photoshopped it out, and if they put in a big-ass foo-foo drink with, like, a... what's pole dancing on the drink? There's this, what is it again? I'm going to have to somehow show this. Like a seahorse? Is it a seahorse pole dancing? A mermaid pole dancing on the umbrella drink. You know, I've got this. So if you see that picture, know that it was photoshopped. I never had a big drink like that. but it is National Tequila Day today. And I'm a big believer in tradition. So whatever you see of me in a few hours, just know that it was for tradition's sake. Okay? Is that a deal? I was going to give you the phone number, but I decided I should take a break. And let me know, Joe Snuffy, if you end up posting the latest meme that you made of Sutherland. It is powerful. It's hard hitting, but I don't see where it's not right, where it's not accurate. And I want to share it with everybody if you end up doing it today. All right, wonderful. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment on myfreedomradio.com. On YouTube, please do me a favor during the break. I know I always say that it's, if you go right now, because I'm going to click, put it on commercial break here in a minute. What can I do to stop it from freezing up? I don't know. I don't know. It might be your phone. Maybe you need a phone with more memory. Might be it. But if you go to YouTube, one word, My Freedom Radio, that's a great shot. Look at that shot. My Freedom Radio, one word. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It's up and running. We're going to try to be more consistent at it. And, of course, right here on Periscope. We'll be right back in just a moment.
You're listening to the Burnie Thompson Show. Stay tuned. More of you and Burnie straight ahead.
The Burnie Thompson Show is brought to you by Waterstone Apartments. Each home includes a full-size washer.
how about you enforce the current law before you talk about changing any law?
This would be a very good time for you to shut up.
Don't you know me? Don't you know that that's an impossibility, that could never happen?
It is our time to do all we can do, and it's an urgent time.
Don't you know that?
And now, Burnie Thompson, where the golden age of radio lives on.
Yes, indeed, Miss Sarah Moon, I did. You may recall that I was a little scruffly yesterday, and my plan was a good plan, but I don't think I was going to get away with it. My plan was to go ahead and just let it get scruffy and white, and I was kind of looking a little bit like, I wouldn't say Waylon Jennings, but who's the one I really like his songs? Who wrote the song Me and Bobby McGee? Will somebody look that up? Doggone, I forgot his name. You'll be surprised who wrote it. Me and Bobby McGee. But that's who I'm thinking of. The white kind of scruffy beard thing. And because my birthday's on Wednesday, and I know, Mel, and I turned 48. And so what I wanted to do was shave on my birthday and look younger. You just feel younger, like instantly. That was the plan. But I didn't get away with it. No, Janis Joplin sang it. But you're going to be amazed at who wrote it. One of the great songwriters in American history, and I'm telling you, you absolutely want. He was an Oxford scholar. You're not going to believe this story. And the way he broke into songwriting is even more cool. He flew helicopters in the Army. You're not going to believe who this is. Somebody, now you got to tell me the name. Don't make me look it up. Yeah, he landed a helicopter and talked Johnny Cash into letting him write a song for him. Sunday Morning Coming Down, I believe he wrote. Come on now, who is it? I can't remember his name. One of the great writers. You won't believe it. He was an Oxford scholar. He was a helicopter pilot, and you just won't believe. He was an actor too. Wasn't a very good actor though. Not a great singer either, but songwriter, amazing. My whistler's not that good. If I could trade in something, I would want to be a better whistler. I might give up a digit, maybe a little part of it, like Ronnie Lott, the great safety for the San Francisco 49ers, if I could just whistle better. You wouldn't believe what I'd get up if what I'd give up to sing. Then I'd really give something up. Chris Christopherson. Thanks, Jeremy. That's exactly right. Chris Christopherson, one of the great writers in American history, not just songwriters either. Dude was incredible, an Oxford scholar. You know why he came back to America? A girl broke his heart. I don't understand guys like that. A woman broke his heart, so he gave up his Oxford education and he came back to America. And he just started drinking and writing country songs. And then he was good to go. Do you know why? Do you know why he was successful when he started drinking and writing country songs and he gave up? He left the Army. He left before that. He was done at Oxford. You know, the reason that he was successful is because that's who he really was. I'm sideways again. I know you must be watching on the computer. You know why I did that? Because the other angle sucked is why. And what we need to do is get Periscope to fix it so that it flips. But it looks terrible when it's straight up and down skinny. I can't get it. It looks like this, basically, is how it looks. And so we're going to do it like that. On the cell phone, you should be able to turn sideways on your cell phone. Maybe not on the Androids. I don't know. But anyway, he was successful because that's who he really was. When he was trying to live a life as an Oxford scholar, imagine Chris Christopherson as an Oxford scholar. It ain't happening. Even in the military, as a military pilot, his father was a general. Did you know that? His father was a general. Screen could be locked in portrait mode. Hey, Kyle. So, okay, Jeremy says, check out if you're on your cell phone and it's not, fitting the screen right now on Periscope, you probably have your screen locked, so you can fix that. All right, let's get to, you know what I want to do? I want to give away a book. I want to give away a copy of The Law by Frederick Bastiat. This is Again, probably the first book on My Liberty Library. It's only 55 pages in my favorite edition here, and it is a fantastic study of the proper relationship between free people and government and human nature. And one of the great things that Bastiat asks, one of the really great things that Bastiat asks is, if the politicians say that you and I can't be trusted to live our own lives, what the hell makes them so great? What special clay are you made of that you bureaucrat or you politician, that you can plan not only your lives, but our lives? Okay? What special clay are you made of? Because you're a person just like we are. As a matter of fact, that's exactly why we've got to limit your power, because we know that we are afflicted with the flaws of humanity, but so are you. So the difference is you have the power of government on your side. So if we're all afflicted with the flaws of humanity, I like the way that sounds, so I have to write it down. Otherwise, I don't remember anything, especially on National Tequila Day. I can't wait for later. Afflicted with flaws of humanity. Why do politicians think they're not afflicted with the flaws of humanity? Why do they think they get to make all the decisions for us? Up theirs. That's what I say. Up yours. I really do say that, by the way. I want to make that part of normal dialogue at any town hall. Up yours would be one of the first ones at a city council meeting. That might be my next thing. Up yours is the thing. I'm going to take a phone call, but I'm also going to come up with some questions. And the person they're going to be from the citizenship test, by the way. Do you know that now, welcome back, Don. Do you know that now, and Brad, right now you don't have to. Obama has said you can skip the part of the citizenship oath. You can skip the part that says it's time, you have to take up arms and defend America. You don't need that anymore if your religion is opposed to it. Obama just did that. I want to go to the phones right now, and my main man, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how are you?
Good afternoon, sir. Just calling in to chime on some other topics, but interestingly enough, you know that our great sheriff, our constitutional sheriff McKeithen, has put out these little stickers that in God We Trust, which is actually the national motto, and it's the state motto also. And it's also on the badges, it's on the flag, it's on the state seal. Well, apparently the Unitarian Church here in Panama City, or in Bay County, wants to put a little protest about his stickers at the sheriff's office today at 4:30. And I was wondering, we can get a lot of people there to show our support for our constitutional service and the principles under which this country has been founded.
Well, I'm going to be out of town at that time. I'm heading out of town, Bobby. But let everybody know where it is. Here's the thing about my philosophy on the new stickers or what it is on the sheriff's vehicles. In God We Trust. That is part of what Dennis Prager calls an American Trinity. He calls it. On every coin it says "In God We Trust." It says liberty, and it also says "E pluribus unum." Out of many one. I hope, my only hope, and I'll let Sheriff Frank McKeithen know it when I see him, is that he doesn't forget the liberty part. In God We Trust, liberty, and out of many one. I hope he doesn't forget the liberty part.
Right, and once again, he has not made it obligatory to put a sticker in their car. So you just have him, whoever wants it, they can put it, you put it on his car.
Yeah, well, that's, and I'm all for that. I really am. That's, as you say.
And when people told him that he, that was separation of church and state, which is not true. There's nowhere in the Constitution anywhere says that. There was a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Church telling that the government cannot be ruling or trying to control the religious activity of the people.
Yep, he called for a wall of separation in that letter.
Yeah, but it goes the other way around. The people's faith tells the government how it should act because our laws and our principles are derived exactly. As a matter of fact, the construction of the government of this republic comes exactly out of Isaiah. So the three-headed division of power comes from the Bible. the Romans didn't have that. They sort of had part of that. The Greeks didn't have that. I always come from a Judeo-Christian principle, and that was adapted into the dogma that we have in our country. In any event, at 4:30, they're going to have their people standing, and I say, like Captain America, no, you move.
Exactly right.
And don't get me wrong, if you want to protest, God bless you for that. I think you have not only a right, but you have a duty to follow your conscience. But I find it very odd that a church, or so-called church, is taking a stance against something that is embedded in the state constitution, is embedded in the documents of the founders, it's embedded in our national anthem, and it is the national motto. It is in every coin.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
And I think
so where will you be supporting this?
It's by the sheriff's office, in front of the sheriff's office over at Highway 77 or Ohio Avenue in New Haven, 4:30 time frame.
Okay, wonderful.
We have some friends, some patriots and supporters that, what is it? In God we trust, and we trust Sheriff Keith and also. So I think it was a great. I see some of those posters already, and I think that's great.
Well, Bobby, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope that people can make it out there, because I think it is worth supporting, as long as the sheriff doesn't forget the liberty part. And I'm going to keep reminding him of that, okay? The "in God we trust" part, especially here, most people are going to agree with and pump their fists. Now, I'm looking up some questions from the citizenship test, because this is what I'm going to ask. I'm going to find a question here, and then I'm going to, whoever gets the answer, I'm going to ship this book off to you. And DJ Bringles, I see you. I'll be shipping your book off on Monday, as a matter of fact, because I got your, I saw your address. Let's see here. That's a decent question. I'm looking up questions. All right. I have a good question. All right, I'm going to make a simple question here. The first person who answers this, now, if you already have, if you've already won a book, all right, if you've already won a book, please don't answer the question. Let's get somebody new who does not yet have a book, and whoever gets the answer to this, I'm going to ship this book to. Right now, the U.S. Senate is elected by the people of the state, right? It's a popular vote. But before 1913, how was a U.S. senator elected? How was a U.S. senator elected before 1913? Before the 17th Amendment changed it, for the worse, by the way, and I'll explain why in a minute. So U.S. senators, you know how we elected Marco Rubio. We all voted, right? The House of Representatives of where? The House of Representatives where? Yes, it is the state legislature. So your dad has won this book. So Robbie Moon has won. The state legislature would appoint them. Yep, Robbie was the first. And you know what, Miriam, I know you knew that, so look what I have. The House is, it's the House and the Senate. It would have been the state legislature, but 2 books. I'm going to give one to Miriam and one to Robbie, and I'll get those done. Good, I don't have to mail that. Miss Sarah Moon will deliver the one to her dad, Robbie. But that's it, and here's why it's important. When the founders set up our government, this is what they had in mind, okay? They had in mind, and you know this when you read the 10th Amendment. Let's see here. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, says the 10th Amendment. This is telling the federal government, you're not the boss, all right? Nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively and to the people. If Miriam, if you're on Twitter, just send me a Twitter message, a private message on Twitter, and I'll see that. Or on Facebook. You can do it either way. But here's what I want you to understand, and this is very important. When we have what's called a bicameral Congress, right? We have the House and we have the Senate. How many members in the House? 435. And the House represents the people in America. The Senate, 2 per state, whether you're a big state or a little state, the Senate had 100 senators. So well, at the time there were fewer, but you have 2 per state. So what you had was the House representing the people and the Senate representing the states. And the way that the Senate's represented the states was the state legislature appointed them. So let me give you an example. We would never have had Obamacare, ever, if the Senate still represented the states. Because the 2 senators, right, they would have, who at the time were Marco Rubio and Marco Rubio and, why am I forgetting his name? I'm glad, I'm actually glad I'm forgetting our left-wing senior senator's name. Somebody help me. I can see his face. But these 2 guys, he's actually leaving after this term. And a lot of people think Gwen Graham is going to run for his seat. Bill Nelson, thank you. All right, so there we go. Yep. So what we have now is, what I was going to say is we never would have had Obamacare if the Senate was still elected by the state legislature, because Obamacare put so much burden on the states that the state legislature would have said hell no to that, right? And so if the senators who were appointed by the legislature, they are accountable to the state legislature. So you had a Senate at the time that represented the states, and you had the House that represented the people. Now, when that was changed in 1913, what we have now is basically a big house and a little house, and nobody representing the states, which has been a major blow to the 10th Amendment. It has been a major blow. And if you look at the things that happened in 1913, this was one of the worst years in American history. In 1913, we had the 16th Amendment that said that the federal government could tax our income. Number 2, we had the 17th Amendment that said that the state legislatures no longer appointed the Senate, so now the Senate doesn't represent the states. This is why you have Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton running all over the country collecting money in California. It's bad. And so you had that. And then the third thing is the setting up of the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor reserve, right? The Federal Reserve is about as federal as Federal Express. So these 3 things, the ruining of our money supply, the Senate no longer representing the states, and the federal government saying they could tax our income. Those 3 things happened in 1913. That was a very bad year. There should be a song about it. A very bad year. When it was 1913, it was a very bad year. So we've got the book giveaway done. What else are we supposed to do? If you wanted to call the show, I'll take your calls. I saw some people calling and I wasn't able to take it. Phone number is 850-252-8260. 850-252-8260. And if you've just joined us, it is up now. Joe Snuffy on Twitter, at Joe Snuffy on Twitter, has tweeted the meme. It is unbelievable. I've now retweeted it. So you can go to at Burnie Thompson or at Joe Snuffy, but probably at Burnie Thompson will be easier to find. There it is. Already 5 retweets. Have you seen it? Oh, it's you know what, Steve Sutherland, though, that's what you get. When you try to tell us that the $500 million, listen, there's a thing going around that names the companies that funded and sponsored Planned Parenthood. But do you know who was the biggest funder and sponsor of Planned Parenthood? It wasn't McDonald's. It wasn't Nike. It was Steve Sutherland and the Congress. $500 million they gave Planned Parenthood last year, and then as they were peeing on our shoes and telling us it was raining, Steve Sutherland's office told me, well, none of that money is earmarked for abortions. Just for what? Mailing baby parts? And you're a social conservative giving it prayerful thought whether or not you're going to run for office? Your time for prayerful thought was when you cast your vote to fund Planned Parenthood. Am I right or wrong? Can I get an amen, as Pastor J.C. Hall would say? Sometimes I want to be a pastor just so I could say that. Can I get an amen? All right, I'm going to go to your phone calls right now, and glad to take them. And we'll start with Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome to the Burnie Thompson Show.
Hi, Burnie. Has anybody let you know about the rally going on at the Sheriff's Department today?
Yes, Bobby Lago just told us. 4 o'clock, where again? In Lynn Haven?
It's either 4 or 4:30, yeah,
Okay.
at the main sheriff's station.
Oh, good. Right there at the sheriff's station.
Yes, we need to get out and support him.
Okay.
Right?
Yep, I agree. And my thing is, I'm off. I think there's a, as Dennis Prager says, there's a, and by the way, Kathleen, it's great to hear from you.
Thank you.
It really is. Tell your husband hi for me, too, okay? But
Yes, I will.
Here's what I think. Do you know I'm going to see Tho Bishop tonight and tomorrow at the Mises Institute, where he works now, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go take an economic boot camp. I'm going to go learn more about economics from Tho Bishop and the Mises Institute. But here's what I was going to tell you. I am all for the sheriff pushing In God We Trust. The Dennis Prager says that there's a sort of a trinity, a United States trinity, and it's always found on our coins. In God We Trust, liberty, and e pluribus unum, out of many one. Those are the three foundational principles of America. And I just always want us to remind Sheriff McKeithen, who I like and respect very, very much, about the liberty part. Please don't forget, Sheriff, the liberty part is my thing.
Well, we're losing our liberty in this nation.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
Aren't we?
what yeah, we are. And you know
Sadly,
what?
so.
And I'll tell you what, Kathleen, I know you, and I know all that you and your husband do against great odds, and you and I are often licking our wounds as we get defeated in elections or whatever it is we're doing. But God bless you for standing up for liberty and for America.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all you do, too. And I hope I see you out there this afternoon, though it's going to be hot, hot, hot.
I'll be out of town. I'll be heading toward Alabama.
Oh, well, enjoy. That's where Tho is, up in Alabama?
At Auburn, at the Mises Institute.
Oh, right. I didn't know where it was.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and have a great one. And please tell Sheriff McKeithen I support him and said hello.
And tell Tho that we say hello.
I will, I promise. Thanks so much, Kathleen. I appreciate it. Phone number is 850, area code 850-252-8260, 850-252-8260. A couple of things I want to run by you, sort of the things I want you to remember today, if you find them worth remembering. Number one, I think that Democrats, I'm so worried about America, and I think, and this is not something that makes me happy, it's just something I think is true. I think the Democrats view Republicans the same way Palestinians view Israel. Nothing less than total annihilation will do. Democrats imagine a world with no Republicans, the same way that Palestinians imagine a world with no Israel. Is that too harsh, or do you believe that to be true? I believe that to be true. Now, that's not to say that they want to, blow us up necessarily, but that is to say that they want us out of the way. They want us to be converted, right? They want us to celebrate their leftist causes. Brad, I think it's true too, man. And here's another thing that I want you to think about. You can tell a whole lot about somebody's character by two things. Number one, what they get passionate about, what drives them, what animates them. And number two, if they are willing to criticize their own. These are two things that you can really tell a lot about somebody's character by looking at these two things. Another thing, F.A. Hayek, who was a protege of Ludwig von Mises. We're going to the von Mises Institute over the weekend. F.A. Hayek said, and this is another one I want you to remember, he said there is all the difference in the world between treating people equally and attempting to make people equal. Don't you agree? Treating people equally is a virtue. Trying to make everybody equal is a vice. It's worse than a vice. It's evil because it requires that you have great control over those people. That's a big deal. That's another thing I wanted to share with you. And if you have Twitter, I'm asking you to go to either my page or at Joe Snuffy's page or maybe at Miss Sarah Moon, one of our pages, and see the new meme that was just now released by at Joe Snuffy, whose moniker on Twitter is "Don't meme me, bro." Okay, you don't want to get memed by him. I'm telling you right now, you don't want that. And he has created the meme of Steve Sutherland and his vote to fund Planned Parenthood. And it is powerful. Steve Sutherland voted to give $500 million to Planned Parenthood. He said this money would not pay for abortions. And you see what's been done with that. And I hope that you'll retweet it, because that is not the kind of Republican that we need to have representing us anywhere. And I'll do all I can. I'll do all I can to prevent it, just like I did all I can to send him there. But he forgot that his constituents were you and me, that his constituents were not John Boehner. When you try harder to please John Boehner than you do the people you represent, you need to go home and go back to work. I'm going to close with this. I want you to hear something amazing. I got to get to it, though. This is Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas is a commissioner in Bay County, Florida. He's the commissioner that represents the beach, okay? He's stepping down. He wants to run for mayor. He's trying to befriend Sean Hannity. He's promising to clean up the beach. What he's really doing is running off businesses. He thinks that he has the right and the power and the legitimate authority to decide who can do business where and when. I want you to hear what Mike Thomas said. These are his words. This is his voice. When he was asked by a reporter, but how can you do that? They are a business. They are a business. How can you guys get together as the great forbidders and decide who can do what, when, where, and how much? And I want you to hear what Mike Thomas said. I'm finding it here. Maybe I need to go here and find it. If you'll bear with me, I don't mind sort of stumbling along here until I find it. Here it is. Oh, my God. Okay. Listen to this. Hopefully I have it here. This is
in
Mike
business.
Thomas. Listen to this. Listen to this.
I don't care if they're in business.
But they have a business, Mike Thomas, Commissioner.
I don't care if they're in business.
Did you hear that? Listen to his tone.
I don't care if they're in business.
They're a nuisance. But they're a business, Commissioner Thomas.
I don't care if they're in business.
Is that incredible? This man owns a diner, okay, called Mike's Diner. This man owns a donut shop called Thomas's Donuts in Panama City Beach. This man is a great forbidder. This man thinks if he views a business as a nuisance, that he can put him out of business. But what about America? What about that they're a business?
I don't care if they're in business.
Well, I don't care about this guy. And I'll tell you, a bigger nuisance to America and to Bay County and to you and me than scooters are men like him. This guy's got to go. And as somebody told me earlier today, we need to make him care. And the only way to make guys like that care is to boycott his business and to boot his ass out of office. Now, who's going to step up and represent the beach? I've got ideas. I'm sure you do too. Well, that'll remain to be seen. But right now, what remains to be seen is just where I'm going to go for National Tequila Day, because I may need to wait. That's right. That's who I'd like to see there, Joe Snuffy. But I've got to get up and go to Auburn, Alabama, because I'm going to be doing some studying this weekend. I'm going to go through a boot camp on economics from the Mises Institute with Miss Sarah Moon. And I can't wait. I'm going to see Tho Bishop. I'm going to go with Mark Wishern, who is getting a TV show, by the way, to explain what's happened to our money supply. Oh, there's a lot of great things going on. But will you please go to our Twitter page and see the newest meme that was just released, about Steve Sutherland and his vote to fund Planned Parenthood. He said he was a social conservative. He said the money wasn't going to abortions. Wait till you see the meme, and I hope that you'll retweet it so that everybody can see it. We are going to target these guys. I had somebody once tell me, Bernie, you ought to do a segment called Who's the Guy? I said, what do you mean, who's the guy? And it was a great suggestion. He said, we want to know who's the guy, right? Who's the guy who voted to fund Planned Parenthood? Who's the guy who said, I don't care if they're in business, we're going to put them out of business? Who's the guy? Highlight the guy, and let's make these so-and-sos pay the price for what they do. And I thought, man, that's actually a really fantastic idea. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So thanks for being with us. I'm Burnie Thompson. Please, if you haven't done it yet, go to YouTube, to My Freedom Radio, one word, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to me. Also, see if you can get a few people to download Periscope and follow the show. The contest will end on Wednesday. Who gets the most people to download Periscope and to follow the show? I'm going to send these 2 books off to on Wednesday, my birthday, and of course on My Freedom Radio. All right. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. And I hope you'll learn something new as well. And I'll see you on Monday.
Superior Door Works and more. For garage door problems or to build a new one, don't get stuck with a broken garage door. Call my friend Kyle, 880-6579. 880-6579.